So I used to work in a boba shop. Apparently, some people call it bubble instead of boba. But that's stupid. The New York Times just recently wrote an article like last month titled The Blobs in Your Tea. They're supposed to be there, as if it was some kind of new and exotic trend. And a lot of people got mad at them since boba's been around in the States for well over 2 decades now, and they're just being a tad ignorant. But it's okay, they apologized and fixed the article. Twice. Couldn't get it right the second time either, I guess. Anyways, back to me. It was the summer after my last year in high school when I realized, hey, I'm like kind of an adult now. Never had a job before.
Why not waste the last summer before college by working a minimum wage job?
One of my friends told me that I think it was her mom's friend's sister's friend and her husband opened up this new boba shop and was hiring a couple of people. And my friend said that she wanted a summer job too, so I said, cool, let's both apply and work there together. Since this was my first job, I didn't really have any work experience or anything, so for my resume, I just kind of wrote down my GPA and my community service hours. And that's it. When it was time for my interview, I sat down with the owner and he looked at my resume and said, okay, cool, let's get you started over there. Well, that was easy. So I trained for like 4 hours that day, learning how to make the tea and use the machines. And before I left, I asked the owner, so when should I come in next time? And he said, we'll let you know. And guess what? I waited an entire week for them to call just to find out from my friend who actually got the job that they said I was too slow. Too slow? How could you say I was too slow on my first day? Nobody even came into the store. Eventually, I got the job since I virtually begged them to give me a second chance, and I moved a lot faster after that. But still, do you know how much it sucks to know that your employer thinks you're slow? And what's worse was the fact that I didn't know how to speak Chinese, and they knew that. So every now and then, they would walk off to the side and start talking in Chinese. I'm pretty sure those guys were talking smack about me right in front of my face, but I never had any proof, so whatever. Making the bubble was easy. I'm sure it was a lot easier than other fast food jobs since we only served desserts and 2 types of drinks. Regular milk tea and fresh milk tea. The only difference between the two was that the regular had powder creamer, whereas the fresh had liquid creamer. And the fresh was like $1 more, meaning customers would never order it, so the liquid creamer, it went bad a lot. We kind of just kept it under the counter and covered it with plastic wrap. Pretty ironic how that was the fresh milk tea now that I think about it. And since we only made desserts, we didn't really have any oil or grease, so the owners would just tell me to spray the dishes with hot water instead of using soap. They said that soap took too long. Anyways, yeah, boba, it was easy. The hard part was making the desserts. To be honest, the shop that I worked at wasn't even that much of a boba shop since the main product there was actually shaved snow, which is kind of like a snow cone but a lot fluffier, and we put fruit and condensed milk on top of it. I thought it was pretty good. Making one of these things was either super satisfying or a pain in the ass. The way it worked was that there are these big frozen cylindrical blocks of snow that the owners would bring in from home, and we would put it into the machine that spins the block on a razor blade. Sometimes if you didn't put the block exactly in the middle, the thing would just start spinning out of control, causing the block to fly out and smack you in the face. They were supposed to have these little doors to protect you from that, but the owner said that opening and closing the door took too long. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Remember how I said I didn't speak Chinese? Well, I still look Chinese, and I was working in a Chinese store in a relatively Chinese area. So every now and then, I would get customers who would come in and start talking to me in Chinese. And I would have to tell them, oh, sorry, I don't speak Chinese. And they would just give me this kind of frustrated look like, really? As they try to point to what they wanted on the menu. So that was fun. To be honest, it wasn't that bad working there. I got free bubble whenever I wanted. Plus, I met some interesting people. There was Kelsey, who I'm still friends with today. She's pretty cool and tall. I gave her my old drawing tablet. There was Michelle, who apparently had fake boobs. Julia, she always showed me pictures of when she was skinny. She kept telling me she was on this cucumber diet. And then there was Anne. My boss told me she was a lesbian. Not like there's anything wrong with that. And then at some point, my friend Jerry from the 10,000 subscriber video, he started working there. Whenever he wiped the tables, he would say, well, hope the floor is hungry, and just push all the crumbs onto the ground. Yeah, he didn't do much. I think the worst part about working in that store was probably the music. We would just let the radio play in the shop, and there were 2 songs that would always play that summer.
You show the lights won't stop me down.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
But you know, the thing about working in boba or any fast food or retail job is that you can't expect much. I only got paid $7 an hour working there, and minimum wage was $8 at the time. Needless to say, the shop didn't stay open for too long for various reasons, and at the end of that summer, I spent pretty much all the money I made on an iPod Nano. And I think Jerry spent all of his on some kind of fancy underwear. Man, I don't know how some people manage to save up enough money for college by working minimum wage jobs. I worked for 3 months at that store, and that iPod was seriously the only thing I could afford. Maybe I should talk about school in my next video. How about you guys tell me in the comments how your first month or so of this school year is going? Maybe that'll help me spark some memories or something. And with that, I'm gonna go now. Be better, everyone.